What is the second-year receiver for the New York Jets going to do this year? I have all the answers and more after this. Welcome back in, folks. I'm Jake Ellenbogen, and today we'll be talking about Elijah Moore, the talented receiver out of Ole Miss, who is, of course, going into his second year, and as well as Zach Wilson. Elijah Moore is somebody that I'm very intrigued with. When you look at his previous season, he lined up in the slot 125 snaps last year, 347 out wide. He was 55th in the league last year in yards after the catch. He had 43 receptions on 77 targets for 538 yards, averaging 12.5 yards per reception, 5 touchdowns, and he had also 5 carries for 54 yards. However, this season I expect to be even better, and obviously it should be. He ended up with 538 yards because he got hurt and didn't play as many games, but he was very impressive last year. He showed signs of brilliance, and I think for real, the Jets got a damn steal in the draft last year. So we move into the projections for 2022, and as you can see, I'm pretty high on Elijah Moore. I would say going into this year, I don't expect him to have a ton of receptions. I think he's going to make the most of his opportunities. I think his yards per catch is going to be around the same at 12.5 exactly, actually. That's what I had in my projections. 57 receptions on 92 targets this year. Obviously, the target should go up. I think he's going to be very heavily utilized, but as I've said before in my other videos, I don't expect any Jet skill position player to go over 1,000 yards. I think obviously Zach Wilson's going to be in a huge year. We talked about that, 30 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and over 4,000 yards passing. But I think they have so much talent and not really anybody who could truly emerge. And obviously somebody who could, but I really think it's going to be really well spread out to the point where it's really hard to gauge who is going to reap the rewards the most. I do think he is going to be the fantasy option if you want to own anybody outside of the Jets. He is going to be your moneymaker. He's going to give you the most points in PPR formats especially. However, I do think going into this year, he's going to fall short of 1,000 yards. I have him at 855, and I definitely think that's a good spot. Going into year 2, moving up the rungs from 538 to 855 is definitely a good move there. I have 12.5 yards per reception, as I mentioned, and I have him going for 9 touchdowns. I understand this is quite the hike from 5 touchdowns, but I decided to put the production more into the end zone instead of the yards. Don't look at necessarily the yards this year with the Jets. I think there's going to be a lot of talent making, all sorts of stuff happen. You talk about Conklin, you talk about adding Uzama, you add Garrett Wilson, you have Corey Davis still, Braxton Berrios. There's no wonder why I don't expect anybody to go over 1,000 yards. However, I do think there's going to be red zone and end zone production, and I think it's definitely going to be big this year for Elijah Moore. So that's why I have 9 touchdowns. I also have 7 carries for 77 yards. I do think he's going to get involved in the rushing attack as well this year. Not too much, more so just a guy that can take an end around here and there. He had 5 last year for 54, so this year I think he'll pretty much have the same type of output. But when you're looking at Elijah Moore, you definitely have to give this guy a lot of credit. He's very impressive on tape. Obviously, I think really last year, there's a lot to like about him because he was 55th last year in yards after the catch. And I think I always say yards after the catch is not just on the receiver. Obviously, the receiver can do his own thing, with ankle flexion and putting yourself in position to, make the next football move, as they say. However, it does matter with the quarterback. And while I've defended Zach Wilson, the lack of help protecting him has led him to kind of throwing off balance, not really getting it perfectly out in stride. And so he did that at times, but I think he's going to have a lot more time this year, better offensive line. I think he's going to have more confidence. He's going to be able to get the ball where it needs to be, pinpoint accurate, not generally accurate. And I think because of that, you have a guy like Elijah Moore that's 100% going to reap the rewards. So while he's 55th last year in yards per reception, I think he's going to be very well in the top 30, maybe even top 20 in yards after the catch this season. But that's what I have. Let me know what you guys think about Elijah Moore going into this season. If you're a fantasy owner, feel free to put exactly what you think he's going to do. If you're drafting him this year, if you're fading him, let me know in the comment section below. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. And also, if you could, be sure to check out my friends over at Jet Lounge. They have done an incredible job getting an awesome community together. They have all sorts of community spaces over on Twitter, so definitely check them out. They have all sorts of giveaways and stuff like that they do, and they're just awesome people. So definitely check them out, but that's going to be it for me. You guys take care, and I will see you very soon. Later.